From recently having back-to-back losses, the Wave now have back-to-back wins, totaling 7 goals for the good to only 1 goal allowed or against our squad. The Wave FC are back, and they mean business. This team continues to improve week to week, and we have to appreciate what they've done as a team so far this year. But what can be gleaned from this game moving forward? How did Jonas set up the team? Because it's changed every now and then. And did you see the 17-year-old trio ball out this last game against Chicago? Let's get into all that and more on the Penalty Kick Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Gio, and let's start with a quick game recap. SD Wave got on the board first with Lundqvist. Lundqvist had a filthy half volley that just whizzed by Nair. 1-0 Wave FC. Then way late into the second half, Chicago scores an own goal off of a Sanchez cross and a Leon touch, but the defender bundles it into the back of their own net. And hey, I will always take a little bit of luck. Wave FC 2-0 in the 81st minute. But Ascanio wanted to put some icing on the cake with a goal of her own in stoppage time. Really off a Leon hustle play, off a rebound, a Leon assist. Ascanio with a beautiful touch past the keeper. 3-0. That is game. Wave FC. We have won back-to-back games and in decently dominant fashion. I want to throw up the stats because I actually don't think the stats really show what happened throughout the game. I was not able to watch the game on game day. I was at the SDFC game, and I probably should have stayed home and just watched the Wave game or went to the watch party because SDFC laid an egg. They did not look like they wanted to come out and play. So it was great to watch this game on Sunday when I was watching the rerun of the game on NWSL Plus, and the stats kind of show that we kind of dominated, right? We had, tons more possession. Our passing accuracy is through the roof per usual. We are really unmatched in those two categories in the NWSL, and we'll always have a chance to control a game and at least usually have an opportunity to win those games if we control those statistical areas. But possession and passing mean nothing without finishing and putting the ball in the back of the net, because at the end of the day, you need to score goals to win. And the past 2 games, that possession, that tenacity, that passing has led to goals, and we have looked really, really good. But as you can see, shots and shots on target are very, very even. And to be honest, while rewatching the game on Sunday, it looked pretty even. Most of the game was a little bit, San Diego Wave either controlling possession or Chicago really trying to run and break on us and get opportunities on goal, which they had. And Sheridan came through clutch quite a bit. But if you didn't see the 3-0 scoreline, you would be like, this is a very even game. Maybe it ended 1-1, maybe it ended 2-1. But thankfully for us, it ended 3-0. And it really did look in the end like we did deserve that win, because we did at least control most of the game and had the more clear-cut chances. And there was an interesting stat as I was watching the game that was put up yesterday. And the stat is we have a 57.9% shot on target rate, which means of our shots, 57.9% of those shots are shots on target, which leads the NWSL. We had less shots in this game, yet we had more on target. What that means to me is we get quality opportunities. But in the end, it was an even game, at least passing the eye test. Chicago had their chances. Sheridan really came up with big saves, had a clean sheet. And the one save that I have to mention is the save that happened early in the game off of Barcena's turnover. Sheridan dives to her bottom right and gets a hand on it. That could have changed the complexion of this game, but Sheridan had a stellar performance. This puts San Diego Wave 5th in the NWSL table, only 5 points off of Orlando and Kansas City, who have the most points in the league. We are not too far away from them, and I think we're only getting better. I want to get in now to Jonas and the lineups, because this is one of my favorite things to do, is look at the lineups before they come out during the game, especially considering that Jonas has kind of changed it up every now and then, especially considering probably the last 4 games there have been some changes. Some I've obviously loved, some obviously I didn't like, but I always like trying to understand why those changes happen and who they put in to start those games. Big pairing, Armstrong and Wesley. They're coming together. They're starting at center back 2 games in a row, and they've only allowed 1 goal, and that 1 goal was from a penalty kick. Mel Barcenas started on the wing again, 2nd game in a row, and obviously that took Sanchez off the field again, and Sanchez was on the bench, but Sanchez did come in a little bit later. The surprise for me, because the other one started last game in those positions, so you can see how that carries over to this game. The surprise of this game was Ascanio. Ascanio is a natural midfielder, but she started at striker all the way up top, and she looked good. The hustle that she brings, not only on offense, but at times closing the ball down and kind of tracking back a little bit in defense, that's a true midfielder mentality. And it was awesome to see that hustle nonstop for 90 plus minutes, because she only got taken off way late in the game. I liked her in that spot. And what I was looking at was, why wouldn't we try something? Because Leon has looked okay. Chiamaka has looked okay. But there are things about those two that I don't always like up front. And one of those things is sometimes hustle, or being able to track back, or being able to play off of other people. I think Leon does it a little bit better. And I think Chiamaka is just a huge talent that just needs more time to grow. But why would Jonas do something like this? And I wanted to understand, why would you put a natural midfielder in a striker position? I was looking up some stats on Ascanio. She has made 13 appearances for the under 17 U.S. women's national team. She has scored 5 goals, and that's pretty impressive for a natural midfielder to have a goal in every, 3 games roughly. I mean, a little bit better than that, but that just shows that she has goal scoring prowess. And you saw it on that last goal, right? With that deft touch, that was a deflection into, the bottom right-hand corner. Not a lot on it, but to be able to get that touch and control that touch, pure class. Jonas might see her as not only a player that hustles on offense and defense, but in the end is a player that can score goals and can feed other people with her ability to pass and drop back and kind of get back in the midfield, and then release players on the wing such as Cascarino and Mel Barcenas. But it was just superb to see those lineups, to see those changes, and try to dissect those things, and trying to get in the head of Jonas and how he sees the game. But, he's relied, on 3 17-year-olds this game, and we'll get into that, in a little bit, before we really speak on the youngsters. Again, I want to give kudos to Sheridan. I think Sheridan had a phenomenal game. I think this was one of her best games for me, watching her command her box, not only command her box, but obviously set up, Wesley and Armstrong and just making sure they're aligned, and she's controlling everything kind of on that back line because she can see the entire field, but also obviously the saves that she made because she kept a clean sheet, and some of those were really high level saves. Literally just a supremely professional performance by Sheridan, and I think this was her best game so far this year. Also, I thought Leon and Sanchez, when they came on as subs, made a big difference in the game. Leon looks great as a sub, and I actually like her maybe a little bit better as a sub than I do as a starter. But she was a big reason that there was an own goal for Chicago, because she was the one attacking the ball on the Sanchez cross and got a touch on it, which then the defender for Chicago ends up putting it in their own goal. Unlucky, but you create your own luck sometimes. But also, I think the big one for me and Leon was the last goal, the Ascanio goal, because it was a shot on goal. The goalkeeper for Chicago saved it. Leon hustles, and she hustled to get the ball off the rebound at the end line, and then sees a cutting Ascanio. Beautiful. I love hustle. I love giving that extra effort. And that's what happens when you give extra effort. You get to get your head up. You get to see Ascanio running, and Ascanio, puts it away. Just a beautiful, beautiful goal. But now we have to get into the youngsters. We'll start on the back line. I mean, we're talking about 3 17-year-olds here. How insane and mind-boggling is that? 3 17-year-olds starting for a professional soccer team, Wave FC. Armstrong in center back looks really, really good. Of course, still young, still raw talent, but you can tell this is her natural position, center back. You can tell she feels comfortable there. She reads the game really, really well, and she's creating a really good connection with Wesley. And I like, even though those are 2, really young players in center back, I actually like them as our best pairing, and I was a little worried about that. But looking at tape, watching Armstrong continue to play, just aggressive, reads the game really, really well, and is able to track back, a lot better sometimes than, McNabb was able to do. So I love having them, two back there. And I want to continue to see them grow and continue to have that connection at center back, not only for this season, but hopefully years to come. Mel Barcenos, one of my favorite players. The things that she can do on the ball, no one else can do. Hands down, she can go 1v2 by herself, no problem. The step overs, feints, everything about her game is next level. Did she have some turnovers this game? Yes. Was it her best game? No. But again, at 17-year-old, to be able to do what she's doing is absolutely phenomenal. But why I want her on the field, she brings an excitement to the fans when she is on the ball. But more importantly than that, defenders have to fear her. They have to fear guarding her because you don't know what she's going to do. You know she's going to run at you. You know she has step overs. You know she has feints. But you don't know if you're going to be able to stop that. Again, I don't think this game was her best game, but just having that ability to create fear in a defender and knowing that they have to be on your side defending, that leaves more space in the middle. That leaves, the opposite side maybe a little bit more open for Cascarino. You have to worry about Mel Barcenas and Cascarino on the wings running at you at all times, which I don't know if I could say that for Sanchez, at least with the wheels that, she currently has, at her stage of this career. So that is awesome. But also, I think Maroney and Barcenas have a really good understanding of movement, especially when Maroney goes up high. Maroney goes up high a lot, goes up high and wide a lot. When Maroney goes up high, Mel actually tucks inside almost into a secondary striker position. So the movement that they have and the way they're able to move off each other, whether they do have the ball or whether they don't have the ball, I think is a pairing that needs to continue to grow. And I love that Jonas has started Mel Barcenas twice. Barcenas has come off 2 games in a row in the 60th minute roughly, which is fine. That's perfectly fine for me because I think Sanchez is a great player. So Sanchez coming in off the bench and being able to run at defenders that maybe have heavy legs, perfect. And again, Sanchez was really big on the goal that led to the own goal. Lastly, Ascanio, I think she was one of the best players during this game. I just thought she had a great game. Her work rate is absolutely ridiculous. You could see after the goal she scored, she actually put her hands on her knees and was huffing and puffing. And I don't blame her one bit. But what that goes to show you is that she will make the run. She will make the defensive effort, the offensive effort, even when she is dead tired. She says, I'll get air after the play is over. She didn't even celebrate. Right? She's like, I just care for air. But what we all care about the most is the results, is putting the ball in the back of the net. And again, I love hustle. When I see people hustle, that means they care. That means they want to give everything they have to the game and to their team. So I love that she gives her all and just sprints nonstop throughout the entire game. That is just something that it's hard to teach because either the player has it and they want to give everything, or sometimes they don't. So love that. And, big kudos to Jonas for starting these players. I mean, these are 17-year-olds. And he even mentioned it in an interview that he has never had this many young players that were this talented. And so to have faith in 17-year-olds, 3 of them starting, and I think these are the correct 3 starting, that is absolutely phenomenal. But big kudos, not only to Jonas, to the entire team, to the Wave organization, the staff, everybody, because this team has made a 180 turnaround and they're only getting better with each game. So I love seeing it. Kudos to everyone. Hopefully we get another win against Bay FC on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I will be there. I will be at the tailgate. I also do have a surprise, hopefully during the game. You might see me out there. So if you do see me out there, please say hi. Please say what's up. Love me some Wave FC. Love being at the games and can't wait to enjoy it with all of y'all. So let's go. Vamos Wave FC.